Hi everyone, Ben Wright Human, cartoonist extraordinaire, and welcome to another art live stream of my webcomic CosPain. Today I'm working on a strip called SCABS. This is going to work a little differently than the first live stream I did. First off, as you can hear, the audio's fixed. I found the problem that I was having, and it turns out it was a much easier fix. It's one of those things that's just stupid, and you just, until you've come across it, you don't know that it's a thing. The recording program I'm using to do this stream actually had two audio tracks without me realizing it. So it was getting my computer audio twice, and that's why it had that weird echo, and I fixed it. So that's the main thing you need to know. So this is going to work a little differently than the last time. The last video was also really long, and I realized that most people aren't going to want to watch that whole thing every time. Unless you're somebody who's really well known or you're doing a game, it's kind of hard to get away with that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do this in two parts, and this should take less than an hour to finish. I'm going to get as far as the line art, and then on Sunday I'm going to do another stream where I'm doing the color and the post-production. So this particular strip is going to be featuring Ray. I have names for my characters. They don't come up in the comic very often, just kind of how it ended up being written. Ray is the photographer who doesn't really cosplay that much, but part of the idea of CosPain came about. I came up with CosPain back in 2016 at MagFest. Is it 16? That sounds right. 17. 2017 at MagFest. And that particular con, I happened to meet a lot of photographers. Not just the casual people, but the ones who bring lots of equipment and set up official photo shoots and things like that. I'm going to drop your opacity a little. I turned it up before, and it turns out it was a mistake. And as a result, when I first came up with the idea, the main character was actually going to be Ray, who, I guess, in some ways, that was a bit self-insert. I'm not really a photographer, but I kind of like the idea that you had someone who was not really a cosplayer, but friends with all the cosplayers. And like I'd always kind of envisioned that would be the main character, and it didn't really go that way. I'd say MP and Yoru, who are the sexy cosplayer and the serious cosplayer, the hardcore cosplayer, respectively, really are the main characters of the comic. Gotta be careful with how his arm goes. Ugh. Best thing about pencils is they can be rough. But yeah, I still try to get Ray in there regularly, especially when you need someone who's a little bit of an outsider. Okay, I need to be very careful about how I draw this hand. You know what? I'm changing something. I'd originally had him doing kind of a high wave, but the art is looking very wrong, so I'm going to keep it a low wave. How's that look? A little janky. Where's the arm supposed to be? Lower that? That won't work. You know, that's what I should have done. I'm going to do... How's that look? You know what? Both arms down. Done. All right. Now, part of what's going to be fun about this is I'm going to have to create some brand new characters, and that's always fun to do. Start with the scab. What are you going to look like? I did a very rough... Whenever I don't know what a character is going to look like, I'll very often just draw them as a bald dude. Just a quick reference thing. Do I want to use Riddle? No, Riddle wouldn't do this. Riddle's a photographer friend of mine, so I was thinking about dropping him in, but he's an actual photographer that some of Ray's stuff is based on. So I'm not gonna... I don't want to make him the scab. Because, okay, you know, I should show you the joke. The whole concept of this is they've set up a photo shoot, and someone hops in, takes a bunch of photos for free, is going to put them online, and now the shoot's canceled. This happens to Riddle. Like, I remember I've roomed with him at some cons, and one of the things that he's complained about is people will last minute cancel their shoots because, oh, we figured out how to do it for free. So what should I make you look like? How about glasses? It's a good start. You're seeing how I come up with characters. Let's make him thinning hair, kind of goofy ears. Have the badge be around the neck. Whew. It has been a busy week for CosPain. So when I was working on my graphic novel, I'm working on a sequel to my first graphic novel, The Letters of the Devil, and he's holding card out. I was working on The Letters of the Devil, and I recently had to kind of go back to the drawing board with it. Actually, I need him to have that hand up. And I was having a lot of difficulty going back to an earlier stage, and a big part of that was I was really getting very, very stressed out working on trying to do a book and trying to keep CosPain going. So one of my resolutions was to get used to doing more than one CosPain strip a week, because I only really post these once a week. And let's keep them above the bottom. I only really post these once a week. And I wanted to get into a habit of doing more so that potentially my posting schedule could increase later. Here's a pretty basic face. And as a result, even because I'm doing more than one strip a week, and then all of a sudden I'm also only posting one strip a week, I have a decent backlog for the first time in a long time. All right, what should your costume be based on? I'm going to do Soul Calibur, because this guy needs to be in cosplay, and I've been playing a lot of Soul Calibur lately. I'm going to say you're Maxie. It's not going to be exact, but I'm going to base it around that character. Give him like an Elvis outfit. But as a result, though, I ended up with a backlog, and I realized if I wanted to make progress in letters the way I wanted to, I really needed to... oh, this is changing from Maxie. I needed to just do that for a week or two. And I had a backlog, so I could do that. So I stopped doing CosPain for a week or two, and stuff still got posted exactly the same. Getting a little Yuri on Ice here. And I was not only able to get all the work I needed to done, and was freaking out about it a lot less, But I decided, well, I need to keep doing that. I was actually finding I had more creative energy. So I decided that for the next few weeks, I was not going to do anything with letters. But I'm going to do CosPain, and my goal is to have 8 strips by 2 Mondays from now, the 11th, I think, which would mean that I'm able to focus completely on the big project, bell bottoms, because why not? I love making up these crazy costumes with a cod piece. And I guess these are more Japanese hakama, but there you go. Oh, I'm gonna have his hand taking it. Cool. But yeah, so I've done 3 CosPain strips already this week. This is going to be my 4th. Which, considering that I normally do 1, maybe 2, this is huge. And it's really been helping me. All right, I'm going to have a few just random strangers are going to be in the background. I might direct ink them or just keep it very simple bodies. And that is panel 1. That took a little longer than normal, but I'm trying to talk while doing this, so that's always one of the challenges. I really wish I could have music playing, but I think there are so many rights issues that could potentially happen. I'm going to do the guys in the foreground first, even though I know them not nearly as well. All right, start with the funny ears. But yeah, I realized that a big part of the reason I've been personally stressed out lately was that I have been worrying about multiple big projects at the same time. And I can do multiple projects at the same time, but if I only have to worry about one of them at a time, it makes life infinitely easier. Let's just do that, and that should be pretty close. That hairline's a little too real right now. But let's see. He had the card in his left hand. Okay. Just keep the hand kind of bubbly. There we go. It's really funny. The other day, I'm stressing about my projects all day, and then in the evening, I try to unwind with video games or something similar. And the other day, I ended up finding that I wanted to keep drawing, but on a different project. So I actually started up another thing that's going to probably affect my Dungeons & Dragons group. If you guys ever see this, wahahaha, or I am an evil DM. But it was amazing because I actually wanted to work on another project, and that hasn't happened in a little while. I should rephrase that. I always want to work on a bunch of projects, but I never feel like I have the energy, especially if I've been doing other stuff, or at least worrying about other stuff. I'm not always doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it actually really helps that I was able to get that energy back. It tells me something, like that just how much of my stress was based on the fact that I wasn't doing as much as I should be doing. Let's see. How do you take a card that's been handed to you? I got an index card. So someone's handing you a card, and you would take it You take it with your thumb on top. Okay. So he's reaching for it like that. Hands are weird, said every artist ever. Now, what's his collar like? I love just winging outfits. Got a little bit of chest. Exciting. And now, the easy one, drawing Ray. I've done so many times. It's not a big deal. I say that and just like watch me completely forget like how you draw Ray. There we go. I imagine I'll be a lot more talkative on the other stream. It's very difficult to. I just realized something I forgot to do for him. He needs his camera bag. It's part of his clothing that's always kind of there. Bam. So strap will go across his body. Around his chin a little bit, because one of the funny things artists learn early is that faces are the one place that you cannot be constantly screwing up, because we are trained from a young age to recognize people by faces and to notice minute details in faces. As soon as you mess up a face, the whole thing looks less correct. And he also needs... I keep forgetting shit. Man, I've been trying not to curse on here, but I guess I just did. I am a bit of a potty mouth in real life. But on the internet, outside of the comics themselves, where I sometimes have characters swear like a sailor, I generally try to keep it clean. There's a lot of arguments both ways. The way I see it is, it's my choice. I can do what I want. If someone were telling me, you have to keep it clean, I might be more annoyed by that. But thankfully, the only person doing that is my mom, and she means well. Hi, Mom. You're not in chat. You'll never see this. Anyway, that sounded really bad. My mom supports what I do. I just, I know she's probably not going to be, I think they're doing something tonight. But they also don't really watch the live streams just because they're kind of slow. They take a long time. I can't do music in the background. Basically, I'm sitting here talking into the void like a crazy person, so I can't exactly blame them. Now, let's draw big ears. Balding a little on top. And he's got his phone, checking photos. I feel like I'm doing banana hands like in Penny Arcade. Yeah, he looks a little too chubby. There we go. That's a little better. He's got his badge around his neck, hanging about there. Now, I eyeball a lot when I'm doing this comic, especially on the penciling stages, because when it gets to the time when I'm inking, I can go much more. I can fix wherever stuff looks janky. It's one of the reasons I really like working digitally. It makes it a lot easier to fix stuff on the fly. Also, I've done rough sketches, as you can see. I have a general idea where stuff's supposed to be. I'm actually going to move the sucker a few inches. Yeah. just so he's not tangent with that wall. Now, start with the hand. I figured out that part of the trick of drawing hands is to not worry about the fact that you're drawing hands. Just to kind of do it, and if it doesn't work, you can erase it. Hands are one of those things that a lot of artists stress about because there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of weird angles. It's really easy to make hands that don't look right. Now you get the little schwa. I don't want a tangent to the mouth. Still tangent to the mouth. There we go. And poof it out to the sides. Schwa, schwa. And like that. So I mentioned I was basing this character on Maxi. This design, anyway. One of the important things it's worth noting is everything I do is an original costume, technically. It may be inspired by other costumes, but I'm never actually using official properties. And the reason for that is that I want this to be as, well, quite frankly, as marketable as possible. And if there's ever an issue like, oh, you're copying my character, I want to be able to say, nuh-uh. And let's see. Gave him the big shiny belt and the hakama, right? Oh, and hakama with a loincloth. I'm going to have him actually going off the edge. That's fine. That's a little bit less to draw. And the other people are still in the background. Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep them as rough people. They don't need to actually be drawn. And next to him is our friendly neighborhood Ray. I think I've only had Ray's name said in the comic once. What was the name of that strip? It was not that long ago. It's one I actually had to draw by hand about him cosplaying with the group, but automatically getting out of the shot out of habit because he's used to being a tag-along. Man, I've been making him look a little beefy in this particular issue. Maybe he getting in shape, getting swole. It is the Arnold Classic here in Columbus, so people are talking a lot about the whole bodybuilding thing, but I don't think that's really Ray's jam. Although I have photographer friends who are very excited that it's happening, and I've gotten press passes to go check it out. So if you're seeing this and you're one of those people, have a good time. And always use a spotter, I guess, when you're photographing weightlift. I don't know. I'm just talking. Smooth one. All right. And now we are at the last panel. That was quick, right? Quick and painless. Let's start with you. Your face was a little too high because I need room for the speech bubble. Erase the bottom of that. Need him to look a little chagrined that he's asking this. I'm going to say your face. It's a bigger hair thing than that, so a little extra droopy, but we go. And I'm going to have you doing the two fingers together thing that I don't know if people actually do outside of anime, but it's a good kind of almost cute, guilty look, if that makes sense. That actually came out quite nicely. All right. Once this part is done, I will be much more talkative because it takes way less concentration to ink than it does to pencil. Inking is kind of zen. Oh yeah, his stuff kind of flared out. And he had the little weird cod piece. I don't know why I put that on there, but hey, it's there. I'm keeping it. A lot of people are probably going to think this is a Yuri on Ice reference, and I'm fine with that. All right, let's get your head shape. And now I want to be able to see his mouth. Let's get the nose. He's face palming, so it's over his eyes. That's better. All right. Angry eyebrow. And great. Let's have him hand right there. Oh, that's too many fingers. I feel like Bob Ross right now. Making happy little cosplayers. Happy little cosplayers. I made that same joke in the first stream. I probably did. I'm sure every person who's ever done an art live stream in the history of Twitch has probably made a Bob Ross reference at some point. Pretty sure it's one of the requirements to be allowed to call yourself an art live stream. And I'll do the couple people in the back. And with that, the pencils are done. Save. This strip, by the way, is going to be going up in, let's see, I have a backlog right now of 3 strips, I believe, that have not gone on my main site. So, oh, actually, no, one of them comes up later. So I think this will be up in 3 weeks on the main site and in 2 weeks on my Patreon. So if you want to see it early, the Patreon link is on the screen. I encourage you to check it out. And if you donate $3 a month or more, you're able to see these strips way before everybody else. Although in this case, you're seeing it early for free, so you're welcome. All right, let's turn off the confusing extra lines and start into part 2, the line art. And we are at the 30-minute mark. This has actually been taking a little longer than I was expecting, but my guess is this part will be pretty quick. I'm going to say keep it at 15. What's looking wrong here? There we go. I'll do we go. Well, I've got another busy week coming up this next week. Still trying to do 4 strips for the course of the entire week. He's got an angry eyebrow. I need to fix that. I will not be live streaming them. I'm kind of thinking of live streaming once a month for now until I really get the hang of it. As much as I'd like to do it more often, as you can see, like I haven't done a live stream in a month, and I'm having trouble finding things to talk about. Just because got to keep your mouth moving, and it is a difficult thing to do. That's going to be the badge for the con. For the most part, though, people who watch these live streams are looking for something kind of meditative more than anything. So, hope my talking does nothing more than relax you a little bit. Put that there. Put that in there. And make sure you can see the lens in the first shot, just so people know it is in fact a camera. Now, let's see. Down. Nope. And round his butt a little bit. A little something for the ladies. Or guys. Or whatever. I don't know. I'm just sitting here drawing. Whew. Man. By the way, anyone who is a gamer, if you like fighting games at all, or even if you don't, give Soul Calibur 6 a try. I've been a fan of the games for a while, but I kind of fell out when they had some really terrible games for a little bit. And this is fantastic. I've been having a blast with it, so strongly recommended. And I would not be surprised if I ended up, if you were to see some more cosplay designs inspired by characters from that. I've done it in the past, but the character designs can be very good. Go. He's reaching for the card. I have a tendency to put my eyes out of focus while I'm inking. I don't know why. I don't know if it actually helps anything, but I do it because I'm cool like that. There we go. Let's get the nifty belt. Moving it up a little bit because I got it a little low before. Codpiece. Bell bottom. Hakama. You know what? That sounds like a killer band. Bell bottom Hakama. I want them to be like J-pop. You're like, I'd have a good time with it anyway. It's a great name for your otaku band. Maybe that'll go in here at some point. If we ever have an otaku band, Bell Bottom Hakama is their name. Oh, and because he's got a lot of chest showing. And his buddy. Let's do. That's the hair. I absolutely love this tablet. It kind of amazes me sometimes because there's certain things I never could have done. on my old tablet. I used to have a Wacom Intuos, and it was a great device, but it's one of those tablets where you're not actually drawing on a screen. You've got like a flat board and you're drawing on that, and you have to look at the screen while you're doing it and see where the lines are. And that worked for me for years, but I recently got myself a Huion Canvas, which is a tablet with an actual screen. And it is night and day. And sometimes it just strikes me, because like drawing this guy's face as quickly as I just did, I would have been undoing and redoing constantly if I had not gotten this glorious device. It makes everything look better, makes things a little bit quicker. Not dramatically quicker. I actually find that my digital work is slower than doing traditional, which to some people is not a big revelation, but I always thought, it was not the way of things. That half the reason you did digital was it was significantly faster. The truth is, it's not, because, as you just saw, you can hit undo 3 times and make the line you want to make. And it tends to lead to perfectionism, which can slow you down. I love my tablet, but I'm getting a little sick of this computer. It actually gave me a pretty bad scare earlier today. And I think it is finally time for me to get a new computer, which is, kind of a nightmare. You don't want to repeat previous mistakes, but you also don't want to... It's stressful trying to get everything moved over and set up on a new device, especially when you have as much random crap as I do. There we go. And I'll do a quick for the background guys. Actually, no. I want them on a separate layer. I may, in coloring, fade that a little bit. Yeah. Oh, I need to, just 5 is fine. This is buddies. You may be asking, but Ben, why are you just making those random shapes? Like, that looks like the laziest people ever. And my response to that is, I'm putting out a serialized comic. I'm going to do shortcuts when I can. Because in the words of Kirk O'Brien, the cartoonist who first started showing me how to do some of this stuff, because I'm lazy. All right. Frame 2, fight. Why are you... There we go. Quick save. I'm a compulsive saver. Extra necessary because I have, like I said, I recently had a computer scare, and so I have a backup drive currently hooked in that is backing up everything I'm doing. That line is too tiny. I'm going to make you... Actually, I'm going to do 40 for this guy. That's too much. 30. Oh. I like using multiples of 5 for stuff like this. I'm not compulsive. Shut up. Let's see. Glasses. And back. And wide ears. Let's get... There we go. Man, anyone who draws will tell you it gets... I never gave him his strap in this. Oh, here we go. Anyone who draws will tell you that there's like this real zen thing that can happen when you're working. It's part of why I'm not talking a whole lot. Part of why I've often thought I need to have a guest come on while I'm doing this kind of thing. But as it is, there we go. Give him a little nail. Just because you're seeing his hand that close, it should probably be there. And now down to, say, 20. And yeah, it can be very meditative working on a piece. It's one of the few moments you're really concentrating entirely on what you're doing. I'd really like to at some point start doing this in front of an audience at cons, like set up a panel. But if I do that, I'm absolutely going to have an MC, because I can't risk that I have situations here, like here, where I'm getting a little distracted. And not talking quite as much as I should. There, hopefully, I'll also be able to get people to ask me questions. Tangent. Yeah, tangent. There we go. If you're wondering if I talk to myself like this, usually when I'm working, the answer is I'm very often working while in a library, which I highly recommend, by the way, for if you're a freelancer and have no office space besides this lovely room that I have set up in my home. If you actually, even if you do have something like that set up in your home, as I am fortunate enough to do, I would strongly recommend that you still take some time and work outside whenever you can. And libraries are a great place to do it because they're free. So, funny story about that, actually. I was never a big library user. Just because, I don't know, my family was big readers and they tended to buy their books. So usually that's how I used them. So I hadn't had a library card since I was a little kid. And, you know, your parents handle it when that kind of thing happens. But when I came out here, I decided to go ahead and sign up for a library card. And it was the first time I'd done it in my adult life. And I did not realize the library cards are free. That sounds stupid. I know, but I assumed it was like an annual membership, like basically everything else in life. But no, they're like, oh yeah, you paid for it in your taxes, so here you go. Enjoy the library. And it's been absolutely great. Columbus is a big library network. I can use any of them. There's also a nearby township called Westerville, which I'm quite fond of, that has a fantastic library. And just because I was an Ohio native, they let me have a library card there too. And I use them all the time. In fact, they have a 3D printer that has very affordable rates, and I used them when I needed to make fake wax seals for the special edition copies of the Letters of the Devil. So your local library is a great place to do work and stuff like that. And your little PSA rant is over. But seriously, if you're a freelancer, go to the library sometimes. It's also, I go to the library quite often for my accountability group. Another thing that I strongly recommend people try to find. So I got brought into this group by a friend of a friend. And what it is, it's mainly for writers, but they consider cartoonist writers. So that's pretty awesome. And their goal is not so much to review each other, but to keep us on task and keep us working and keeping up with deadlines and helping us figure out, oh, maybe we should be changing the deadlines that we have set for ourselves because they're crazy. And this group has really been helpful to me. It's very low-key. There's a lot of socialization and talking to people, which is another thing that if you're a freelancer, you sometimes stop getting. It's one of the mental health things that you need to be paying attention to, because it's generally not healthy to completely cut yourself off. Like, I'm an introvert, like half the creative population, but I find it much more... It's still not good for me to never be around people. And this is a good way to make sure that at least twice a month, I'm able to interact with in a social environment. I'm making this guy a little thinner just because of how I drew him. Needs a collar. And I didn't actually draw the bag. There we go. 2 panels down. This arm's gonna bug me. But, oh! Eyebrow. Anything else I randomly forgot? Always connect, but that... Yeah. Cool. What's my time like? Whew, okay, this one's running longer than I was expecting it to. But that's fine. I'm almost done anyway. But yeah, having a group like this has been unbelievably helpful to me. And if you're a freelancer, or even if you're not, even if you're doing it casually, most of the people in this group aren't published or even necessarily trying to get published. They just want to write. And it's been very helpful for many of us just to be able to sit there and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. This is where I am in it. And I'd like to be better at it. It's kind of therapeutic in a lot of ways. In many ways, it feels to me like a safe space where I can talk about just how frustrating and difficult what I'm trying to do can be. And I can help other people who are trying to do their own thing. That's too thick. That's better. And the other thing is the group's pretty good about telling you when you're biting off more than you can chew, or you need to do stuff for mental health. Like one of the things that came up for me is when winter came around, I've never had this officially diagnosed, but I've suspected I have a seasonally affective disorder for a while. Just because I really have massive spikes to my lethargy and anxiety during the winter. And I've noticed the last few years in particular, it's been bad. And, you know, when I start to notice that, I try to get out and do stuff like that. And this group, I brought that up, and they, one of the things that they said as one of my goals, instead of being creative, they said to make sure I got out of the house, like to go out for walks. That was one of my goals. So it really is not just about working on specific deadlines. It's about checking in with each other, figuring out where you are, and making sure you're not driving yourself crazy. There's a funny thing recently. I've been having, as I said, a lot of trouble with getting letters going and having issues with those deadlines, and it's been driving me a little crazy. And when I was back home, my parents were talking to me about another project that they'd like to see me do, and I'd honestly like to do at some point. But they were kind of encouraging me to do it sooner rather than later. And so I was thinking about maybe starting it towards the end of January, starting to work on it. And I brought this up, and the person running the group just went, and I was like, okay, you're right. Like, seeing you do that made me realize how bad an idea it was for me to start another project when 2 other projects are kicking my ass. So I took their advice and I held off. I'm still planning the project to do at some point, but when Letters is in a better place and I'm not stressed 99% of the time. There we go. Rushing a tiny bit, but not in a bad, low quality way. Just getting a little... You get bored in certain stages and you just are eager to get on to the next thing. And like I said, this one particular piece seems to be taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated. This is hand, and there we go. Oh, I think his elbow needs to go a little higher. There we go. I don't like that arm. I'll fix it. My goal by the end of the year is to be posting 2 of these a week. I'd really love to be doing that. The thing that stopped me from doing that earlier, more than anything, is I've been worried that I'd run out of material. And it's still a worry. One of the things that I've talked before about the different genres I've worked on. And I've played around with a lot of different genres. And for a long time, I said that the easiest one to write was horror, and the hardest one to write was mystery. And I've come to realize that while there's a lot of things about mystery that are very technically difficult. I mean, Letters is mystery, and it's kicking my ass right now. But one of the things that's much scarier to write, I don't know if it's harder, but definitely scarier, is comedy. I am terrified that I'm doing a comedy strip. That's something that keeps me up at night, has me worrying, because what happens if one day I can't think of anything funny? And honestly, that day comes around, and I guess I stop doing CosPain, or I put it on hiatus. And thankfully, I've got enough material it's not going to happen for a while, but I'd really, really like to have this go on a long time. And it's kind of scary. But by the end of the year, one of my goals is that I want to be doing 2 strips a week. At least drawing them, even if they're not getting posted yet. And I've been doing pretty well. Like I said, this week and next week, I'm actually going to be doing more than that in order to get a backlog, so I could stop working on CosPain for a little bit and focus completely on Letters. But long term, I definitely like to see that change. Currently on my Patreon, I've set a goal where if I start making, I think it was $250 a month, and I'm nowhere near that. I'm currently making $50 a month. Thank you guys. You're awesome, by the way. If any of my patrons happen to see this, love you. Little heart. Not doing it right. Heart. There we go. But if currently I have it set that if I can get there, which means getting $200 more in patrons this year, which is probably not going to happen, but I would go up to 2 strips a week. And I'm thinking I might actually do that one early. We'll see. that'd be kind of my goal, but I mean, admittedly, I wouldn't mind waiting. I wouldn't mind it if I were able to start getting 250 a month this year. That'd be really nice, actually. That would pay all my utilities. That'd be I'll take that. It wouldn't pay rent, but it'd pay all my utilities. And I would absolutely love it if that happened. But even if it doesn't this year, I'm thinking I might try to increase the posting rate just so I can get more of these strips out at a time. I'd really like to do that. All right, let's see. And like that. But yeah, at the moment I am doing this full time, which means I'm living on savings, which I do have the luxury to do. I'm not going to pretend that I'm completely self-sustaining. Got to name it that layer. But if you guys wanted to help me with that, be greatly appreciated. Links on the screen. Okay, shameless shill over. I have other things that I can talk about. I believe I didn't announce this on my last stream, but I got into Otakon. That was pretty exciting. I did Otakon I did it last year, and it was one of the best cons I've ever done. It was fantastic. I've gone to Otakon as an attendee before, never as a tabler, and man, I'm so excited that they're letting me come back again. I honestly thought it was a fluke the first time, and now I know it's not, which is a good feeling. But yeah, I'm also in PsychoCon, which is the very next weekend. And I have a family reunion in between, so that's going to be interesting. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to have to travel up to New Hampshire from Washington, D.C. for the family reunion. I'll leave on Sunday. The family reunion starts that Friday, by the way, so I'll actually have missed several days of it. And I'll be there until Thursday, at which point I'm going to have to leave to travel down to Pennsylvania. And that is going to be a little bit crazy to do. So I'll only get a few days of the family reunion, which this family reunion is something we do every year. I have some great relatives, and it's something I'm looking forward to. But you know, we can only get the rental house a very specific day or week. So I'll take what I can get. And you know, like I said, this is an annual thing. There have been plenty of these. There are going to be more. So it doesn't completely bum me out that I'll be missing a bit. But hey, we're still checking to see if it's at all possible to switch things. And if it is, hey, great. I am almost done for the evening. Like I said, I'll be doing the coloring. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. I'll be doing the coloring on Sunday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Let's do collarbone. And normally coloring takes longer, so we'll see what happens. But there are pretty few characters in this. There's not a lot of complex stuff happening. I'm betting the coloring is actually going to be pretty quick. Hey, it's been exactly an hour. So, taking a little longer than I expected, but not too terribly. But yeah, the first video I did ended up being an hour and a half. That turned out to be a very quick strip. And I just had enough people looking at it and saying that looks too long. And the sound was janky. That didn't help. That I decided that I need to figure out a way to do these shorter. And the best way I can think of is draw this in sections, which I think I'm posting the replays on YouTube. I honestly think that'll work a little bit better there. So hopefully that helps me out. Uh-oh. That wasn't right. That wasn't right either. There we go. Yeah. Man, I was all prepared for what would happen if I finished early. Surprised this has taken as long as it has. But you know what? If you've sat through and watched this, I'm guessing in replay, because from the looks of it, no one ever entered the chat, then good on ya. Check that. Yep. Chat is completely empty. And I screwed up my viewing screens. There we go. Yeah, I have a dual monitor set up right now, and I have screens up that are showing me exactly what you guys are seeing, which is ridiculously helpful. Don't need you. These straps are going there. And all right, spiky hair. You gotta have spiky hair. Nope, too wide. There we go. Angry eyes, brow line, and neckline. That bag looked really tiny. That's better. And I'm doing the background guys on a separate layer because sometimes I lower the opacity on those background guys so that the line art is not the same color as the front art. There we go. And let's turn that off. And excellent. I think that is it. So anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to watch through this video if you did. And my name again is Ben Wright Human. A link to my Patreon is on the screen, www.patreon.com/bwhcomics. I'm also BWH Comics on all the big social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. Basically, you look for BWH Comics, you'll find me, including bwhcomics.com. And this particular comic, not this, well, this strip eventually, but it's going to be a few weeks. But you can find other CosPain strips at CosPainComic.com. Here, I don't have it on the actual thing, but it is on the strip itself. right there. So yeah, if you want to check out more work by me, you can go there, or you can check out my Patreon, or you can go to the YouTube channel I've started where I'm going to be drawing a lot of these. So hopefully I will see you there. Rock on, guys, and never stop drawing.